Greetings, loved ones. In our last episode, we discussed how we like to think that we know what child abusers look like, that we can pick them out of a crowd based on their creepy mustaches, darkly tinted cargo vans, or their giant thick-rimmed glasses. But as we learned, those stereotypes are just that, stereotypes. And like all stereotypes, they fall tragically short. Today we're going to continue talking about characteristics of child predators. This is episode 2 of 2. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, hit the like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. Let's begin with a graphic and discuss which children a child molester targets. So we're going to talk about children who are sexually abused in the family. 19% are biological children of the abuser. 30% are stepchildren, adopted, or foster child of the abuser. 12% are brothers and sisters of the abuser. 18% are nieces and nephews of the abuser. And 5% are grandchildren of the abuser. So let's talk about children sexually abused in the neighborhood. 5% are children left in the care of the abuser. 40% are a child, friend, or neighbor of the abuser. 10% of children are sexually abused by strangers. So let's discuss some specific facts about predators. Number 1, child sexual predators are more likely to be married or formerly married. According to the Abel and Harlow Child Molestation Prevention Study, 73% of the U.S. male population is married or formerly married. In contrast, 77% of child predators are married or formerly married. Number 2, the average child sexual predator is male. Although females do sexually abuse children, the Child Advocacy Center reports that 94% of the time in cases of child sexual abuse, men are the offenders. Number 3, in their day-to-day lives, child sexual predators are more likely to identify as heterosexual. As stated previously, people who sexually abuse children are more likely to be fixated on children than any given gender identity. However, among child sexual abusers, what do appear to have an adult sexual orientation, heterosexuality, is far more common. A child's risk of being molested by his or her relative's heterosexual partner is 100 times greater than by someone who might be identified as homosexual. How much greater? According to the Child Advocacy Center, 96% of the aggressors in sexual abuse are heterosexual. Number 4, the average child sexual predator is more likely to molest girls. The Abel-Harlow Child Molestation Prevention Study found that out of a group of approximately 2,500 predators, about 1,600 molested girls exclusively, and another 400 molested both boys and girls. Many more men molested girls, the study reports. Number 5, child sexual predators with the greatest number of victims each are more likely to molest both boys and girls. While it is true that many more male child sexual predators molest girls, it is also true that number of victims each predator is likely to have increases if that predator molests both boys and girls. According to the Abel-Harlow Child Molestation Prevention Study, those who reported molesting only girls averaged 5.2 victims and 34.2 acts. Those who reported molesting only boys averaged 10.7 victims and 52 acts. Those who reported molesting both boys and girls averaged 27.3 victims and 120.9 acts. Number 6, the average child sexual predator is religious. And this is, like I said, Christians, grab a hold of your seat. The Abel-Harlow Child Molestation Prevention Study found that 90% of sexual predators describe themselves as religious. Furthermore, predators often target religious communities because they find them to be more vulnerable and trusting. Boss, I can't say his name, Chividigian, explains that abuse is no less prevalent within the faith community. In fact, there are studies that demonstrate that the faith community is even more vulnerable to abuse than secular environments. Other studies have found that sexual abusers within faith communities have more victims and younger victims. This disturbing truth is perhaps best illustrated by the words of a convicted child molester who told Dr. Salter, "I consider church people easy to fool. They have a trust that comes from being Christians. They tend to be better folks all around and seem to want to believe in the good that exists in people. So Christians, watch out. You are a target." Number 7, the average child sexual predator targets the children of their own families and friends. Abuse in general, not just sexual abuse, is most often perpetrated by children's own parents. The American Humane Association notes that 79.4% of aggressors were parents and 6.8% were other relatives. In fact, in under 1% of child abuse cases, the aggressor was a foster parent, residential facility staff, the child's daycare provider, a legal advocate, guardian, friends or neighbors, or other professionals. Child sexual predators are not as frequently children's own parents, but they are people who have gained trust within the children's lives. The Vermont Department for Children and Family explains that nearly all child sexual abuse is committed by people known to children and families, including family members such as parents, step-parents, siblings, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins, and people in a family circle of trust such as friends, neighbors, teachers, or coaches. Statistics indicate that more than 90% of juvenile sexual abuse victims know their aggressor in some way. Here are some behaviors to watch for. Child sexual predators use grooming to target their victims. The grooming process is the process which the abuser, let me think about this, in which the offender gains access to the child in order to develop a trusting and or authoritative relationship. Once such a relationship has been established, the aggressor is often free to abuse. Homeschooling parents, leaders, and teachers need to be on the lookout for predators who attempt to groom children. These potential warning signs for child sexual predators and grooming include, but are not limited to, now listen to this, predators may appear inappropriately interested in the sexuality of children, and this could include talking repeatedly about a child's body development or dating history. Predators may refuse to allow their own children to participate in social events. Predators may be domineering, rigid, or authoritarian in child discipline. Predators may often appear jealous of their children's friends or activities. Predators may accuse their children of promiscuity or appear personally betrayed by their children's romantic or sexual relationships with others. Predators may directly target children by becoming major parts of both their and their families' lives through church, family, and school events. Predators may go out of their way to get adults to trust them, despite children feeling noticeably uncomfortable around them. Predators may seem oblivious to personal space, making others uncomfortable by ignoring socially accepted limits regarding emotional and physical boundaries. Predators may belittle or tease a child for feeling uncomfortable about the violation of that child's personal space or boundaries. Predators may insist on physical contact with the child even when the child does not want the contact, such as hugging, kissing, tickling, or wrestling. Predators may accidentally walk in on children or teenagers in the bathroom on a frequent basis. Predators may have secret interactions with children. These interactions may appear outright alarming, such as privately sharing alcohol or pornographic material, but they may also appear somewhat innocuous, such as repeated and private communication via email, phone, or text. Predators may insist on lengthy and or uninterrupted time alone with children. Predators may go out of their way to appear helpful by frequently volunteering to babysit children for free or take them on unsupervised outings. Predators may frequently engage children in age-inappropriate sexual conversations like telling dirty jokes and sharing sexual material, or expose children to adult sexual interactions without appearing concerned about doing so. If you see these signs, you need to investigate to assure that children are not being abused, and if they are, then you need to report it to the authorities. According to the CDC, over half of all children in the world, that's 1 billion children ages 2 to 17 that experience violence every year. So the question is not if you'll encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person. Listen to me. You could be the person who saves a life. Micah 6:8 says, He has showed you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice. There is a way out. It is not your fault. I want you to know that abuse is not love, and most of all, I want you to know that you are not alone. So if you're suffering violence, reach out to someone today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. If you know of a child or other person suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we will talk about how sexual predators groom their victims. Until then, God bless you.